Number one, and just the guys in those games, we played very physical. So at the end of the day, wherever we're at, we can be in the parking lot. Whoever's the most physical team, more times than not, is going to win. Whoever executes and is more consistent throughout the course of the game and plays that way in the three phases of the game is probably going to win.
And you look back at these last couple of games against Wyoming last year. I know there was a blizzard, but it was 17-9. You guys won. The year before that, you guys went into overtime. What is it about these two teams that it always seems to come down to the wire against you guys?
Well, I think again, like you get into these games, and week in and week out, they're going to be physical matchups, especially at the line of scrimmage. They pride themselves in how physical they are on both sides of the ball. They always have a great running attack. Some of the schemes they do and how they run certain run plays is a little bit unique and different than others. And they do a really good job at that. And, they have traditionally, they've always got great tailbacks that have great size and guys on the outside that can stretch the defense as well.
Thanks, Coach.
How's it going, Andy?
What's up, BJ?
Hey, I want to kind of follow off the same question there. They got 656 rushing yards in their last two games. They got the quarterback running now some. Valladay is obviously one of the best running backs in the league. Your rush defense has been better the last couple of weeks here, but what kind of challenge is this going to be?
Yeah, the quarterbacks in the last couple of weeks, they can obviously run the ball and extend plays on pass plays. But there hasn't been a ton of actual design quarterback run plays. The last two teams that we've played, their quarterbacks are capable of doing it, but they haven't done a ton of it. This week, there's going to be, a ton of plays. The quarterback's number is going to have to be accounted for in every single defense and, on every single play. And that's what they've been able to do in the last couple of weeks. Both quarterbacks are very capable, but Levi's done a really good job. He's big and he's fast. He split the defense last week and went for a long one. So, that was on a pass play, but he's had some long runs on design run plays as well. So that always adds another element to it when you got to add the quarterback's number into the run fit.
I know we've talked a lot this year about protecting the blue and winning at home. And obviously it's been a struggle at home this year. How eager, I guess, are guys just to get back out there and have a chance to get back on the winning track at home?
Yeah, they practiced really well today with the purpose to do so.
Thanks, Andy.
Andy, how's it going?
What's up, bud?
Andy, first off, happy belated birthday.
Thanks,
the university put together kind of a cool video for you with a lot of impactful people in it, capped by your wife and your two daughters. I understand there was a longer version that maybe was just revealed to the team. So how much did that mean to you, and the coincidence of hanging 40 on the scoreboard to celebrate your 40th birthday just seemed pretty fitting?
Yeah, just being so focused on the task at hand, obviously, in the mission, and, having a football season birthday, you never really get to celebrate that deal. But we have great people around here, on this staff, and they always take care of everybody. And being that it was my 40th, certain people on the staff here and my wife and my family did put a video together and reached out to a bunch of people, and it was pretty special. Apparently we're supposed to see it after practice on Friday with the scoreboard didn't work. How about that? So I'm actually glad that it didn't work, because that would have been a little too much. But I was able to watch it with my family and some of the staff later on Friday night. And so I was just very appreciative for, number one, for the people putting that video together, but more importantly, that been able to have those people in my life been so impactful in a lot of ways. And so just really grateful, man.
I know that you think very highly of Kekala Kaniho, but just the Kanihos just in general. Kekala once told me that, the reason why I take so much pride in his last name is because maybe there were some Kanihos that didn't always live up to their potential. That seems strange to me, knowing obviously Noe and Kekala. I guess what would your reaction to that be, and how much do you think that both those guys get out of their potential?
Everything. They squeeze all the juice from the fruit when it comes down to it. It is what it is, as they've been taught by Misty and Jarrett, and they're unbelievable people. What you see on the field is what you see all the time. Kay Kala is a tremendous leader, tremendous friend, teammate, and he does what he does on the field. I mean, that's what everybody gets to see, but people that are around him or see him in the public or know him from school, being on campus, whatever it may be, have a better understanding when you're around him a lot more. And know he's obviously growing into his own right. He's a young player that's finding his way and really stepped up huge last game, being out there on an island against some really, really good wide receivers. Obviously, it's never easy being on that island, and he was getting challenged, and he stepped up and tightened up some coverage, came up and made some good tackles later on in the game. When Fresno had started to take some free access throws as rushing yards, and obviously jumped one of those and took it from him. It was really cool to see him respond and make that play.
Thanks, Andy.
Let's go Bob and then Mike.
Coach, what?
You muted yourself, Bob.
Coach, what kind of challenges the defense from Wyoming going to present? What do they do best, and what concerns you most?
Well, I mean, they got a pretty big front. They've done a good job up front. Their linebackers are very active. We've gotten to see their defense play a couple times, but you look at the stats too, and they've done an even better job against the pass. And you turn on the film, and it doesn't take long to see why. I mean, they're playing a lot more post defense, and their corners are able to get up there and press on the outside and do a really good job. And they got tremendous length. I mean, you watch a few clips right away, and you can see why they've done a good job, in the pass game. And it makes it. There's no free access throws. It makes it a lot more challenging, on an offense. They got to work for it.
And describe what we're going to see in Valladay and maybe how you compare him with some of the better running backs that we've seen this year.
Well, I mean, he's number one, his vision, and he's a downhill runner. I mean, every running back that is a good player. I mean, it's number one. You got to have ability or you're not going to be on the field. So that's already a given. But a running back's vision is typically what separates them and how they hit the hole and lower their pads. And when you got bigger backs like these guys, traditionally have, they got a downhill run scheme that, again, is unique in certain ways with some of their schemes and how they run them. It allows for these bigger backs to get downhill, and 3 yards turn into 5 or 6 yards when they run behind their pads. So it's going to be a tremendous challenge at the point of attack, and not only at the point of attack and defeating blocks and our fits, but, obviously how we tackle and finish as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Andy, you have a new staff. You're trying to build something here at Boise State. I know every week, I'm talking about the Fresno State game. You win the game, you don't get too high, you don't get too low, and you try to kind of move on to next week. But as you're building this program, how important was a big win like Fresno State to this program and what you're trying to build for the future?
Yeah, the Colorado State one was a big win. Last week was a big win. We celebrate them, we enjoy them, we learn from them just as much as you do from when things don't go well. You learn from them. What did we do well? What do we need to do better? All of us. And then how are we going to have fun growing and doing it better? And that's our goal. And that was a huge win on the road. It was a huge win against that team on the road. It's a big deal, Mike. You know that. But that was last week, and this is this week, and it ain't going to happen again unless we bring it to life. And every single day we got to earn that. Like we said before, each week has a life of its own, and we're starting to understand that better and what it takes, to make each and every day count.
The Holani factor, how does he make this football team better? How do players respond? How is this football team different when George Holani is George Holani?
Well, he makes things look good and go right when they probably shouldn't. Mike, just his ability to change direction and his elite burst. And he can do it in multiple ways. Obviously, he can do it out of the backfield. He can do it catching the ball. And, it's we've said it all along since spring, that it's different when he's out there. We have other backs that are capable and done a really, really good job. But the consistency of which things happen when George is on the field, he's extremely productive. And again, we're probably pretty close to taking that first pass play to him to the house, and that just the momentum builders when you can make a play like that is huge. You get the chains moving. Now you got to guard this guy, out of the backfield on top of, handling him in the run game.
Thank you, Andy.
Go Paul J. and then John.
All right, time for another old guy question. Back in the day, Boise State was always good for 2 losses when they played teams. They'd lose to Boise State, they'd lose their next game. That's kind of starting up again. BYU lost its next game. Air Force lost its next game. Colorado State lost its next game. 4 of the last 5 teams you played have lost their next game. Do you feel that you're getting back to where people have to prepare so much for you and put so much on the field to play you that maybe it has a lasting 2-week effect?
I'm going to answer that for you after the season, okay? And I think you kind of know my answer, but I'm going to answer that for you after the season. We're going to focus on what we're doing right now, each and every single day, and preparing ourselves to be what we're capable of being when game day comes around. And I promise you at the end of the year, I'll answer that question for you, okay?
All right. I'm looking forward
to
throw
another one at me then. Throw another one.
Okay. I'll throw another. This one's easier. If you win Friday night, you're bowl eligible. Where is that on your list of goals for a season?
Well, I mean, number one, each and every week, the goal is to go 1-0. And that's what we've reestablished, and to handle that every single week going forward is going to put us in position to achieve an opportunity to play in the postseason, and whatever that looks like. And that's all we can control right now. So being able to go to a bowl game is obviously always a big deal. Being able to be our best every single week is the focus of what we're talking about right now. We're not focused on a bowl game or whatever else may be on this week.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Coach, what's your MO, your modus operandi when coming up with second half adjustments? I mean, it's right there. You guys are one of the stingiest teams in the country during the second half. What is it that you do with your staff, like game plan, so to speak, at halftime?
Well, can I go into a lot of depth at that after the season on that? But I will tell you right now is a lot of times a team is going to reveal to you who they are in the first 10 plays and what their plan is. And if we are diligent and studying enough, we can make our adjustments, knowing who we are, how we've been attacked, and how other teams are going to see off their film study, and especially at the end of the year. I mean, we're in all these conference games now, right? So everybody's watching the same film, whether we're playing this team this week, I'm watching somebody else's film that we may play in a couple weeks. So you're seeing each other over and over, and you just see each other more and more and more. And you've got to understand you got to know yourself and know what the other teams are seeing about you. And you got to be able to be real, and you got to be able to make those adjustments quickly. You got to know what other teams have in their arsenal and how they're able to attack, and know what you've been hit on, so that you can take that away before it comes at you. There's a lot of things that go into that. And again, at the end of the year, I'd love to talk with you more about that. But if I go into any more depth, then I'd be giving some up, but probably don't want to.
Totally. I'm not asking for the secret recipe to Coca-Cola. I get it. You're not going to give that to us. But like, I thought Spencer Danielson, and I was wrong, but maybe he was this rah guy. Seems to me like, this guy will dial it up. This guy will scheme it. Talk about your defensive coordinator and kind of what he's doing with this thing too, because it seems like maybe I should have given a lot of these schemes a lot more credit than I was.
I didn't see what you had said or what you had been saying, so I'm not sure what that was about. But, I mean, he's obviously – all of us got to continue to grow, and he's grown tremendously through the course of the year. And, I think we'll continue to grow, and he will continue to grow, and he'll continue to get better. And he's a tremendous leader. I think, you sat down in a room with him, I think you'd be really shocked about how much football he knows. He's definitely not just a raw guy by any means. He knows how to motivate people. Yes, he does. A lot of people enjoy playing for him. And more importantly, I think I know he knows a ton of football. And as he gets into a rhythm of, his new role and things, it's getting better and better. And he's done a tremendous job. Like, we ask about what happens at halftime. I mean, we all work together, work with the defense staff, work with the offense staff, work with the special teams, but he does a tremendous job, leading the defensive staff at halftime in the communication and the list of things that he has to discuss and go over at halftime with the defensive staff is always on point and organized. And we're able to operate efficiently, not only as a staff, but then get the information to the players.
I appreciate you, Coach.
Yo, John.
Go to Ron and BJ each for a follow-up.
So, Coach, especially in the last few weeks, you guys have put up some pretty impressive sack totals. You had a season high 5 this past week. Scott Matlock's really developed into a pass rusher this year. He has 7 sacks so far. He only had 2 career sacks coming into this season. For Scott specifically, why do you think he's so much better as a pass rusher this year?
I think it starts with his mobility. He's a physical guy. He is strong. I mean, if you guys have been up on Scott and been next to him, he's a big dude. And the way he's moving and changing direction, his burst. And last week, the way he came off the ball and pass rush, the way he got off the ball. I mean, pass rush is 75% get off, guys. Like, let's not make a mistake about it. Guys are going to do what they do, what they're comfortable with. Pass rush is 75%. Any great pass rusher, watch them get off the ball. They stress offensive linemen. They get them in uncomfortable positions, and they go to work. And there's no cookie cutter way of doing it once it's time to put a move on a guy when you're pass rushing. But it's about a mentality and coming off the ball and being physical. The same approach in the run game has to apply to pass rush. And, Scotty, he did his best job pass rushing last week too. On the Canijo, on Kekala's interception early on in the game there, Scotty got tremendous pressure on the quarterback. And those are the type of things that make a whole play come together. It's not just one guy. I mean, Kekala made an unbelievable play on that interception in his eye progression and how he executed that defense. But Scotty had a lot to do with that as well.
Thank you.
You probably won't give me much on this, Coach, but I'll take a shot here. Kind of going off Paul J's answer. I know he asked you about the bowl game. You were talking about.
I'm not worried about anything but this week. So if it's going to be beyond this week, let's use another question.
All right. The Mountain West Championship, your path is a little more, I guess, realistic. Obviously, after the last win, I know still stuff has to happen. You're taking it one game at a time, but I guess how exciting or motivating is it for guys knowing that your bigger goals, bowl game, championship, all that stuff is kind of still out there with 3 games left in the season?
Yeah, I think they're excited about the opportunity to keep growing off of what we've done in the past couple of weeks, BJ. I think anymore in this day and age, and I know it's your guys' jobs to write about, different stuff, but it's not ours here to focus on that stuff. It's ours to focus on each and every day. And again, I apologize that I'm not going to feed into next week, the week after, a month from now, or whatever that is. I'm focusing on today, answering questions about what happened last week. But I know our guys are extremely excited to grow off of what we've done in the past 3 weeks and to be our very best this week.
Let's go Jay and Mike Prater for follow-ups.
Andy, this year, up until this last point, every win was followed by a loss, and every loss was followed by a win for you guys. But you break that trend with 2 straight wins. Just in your first year as a head coach, like how did you kind of maybe get through the tough times to what you've at least seen these last couple of weeks, and how encouraged are you by what you've seen these last couple of weeks?
Well, I would say this. I mean, I just heard in that question, get through it. We're in it. Every day is a competitive day. Every day we got to be our best. Every day we got to grow. We're in the middle of it right now. We're in the middle of, working on going one day at a time, week by week, and focusing on the things that we're doing well and how we show up here every single day. And really, that's what it's about. At the end of the day, to your question, getting the opportunity to be around the guys here every single day, to be around these players has been awesome. it's been awesome. And even through some of those tougher times, as you said, when we're, back and forth, the guys are still great. They've always been great. Now we're just putting it together better and better every single day. We come off, in practice today with a short week, and it was one of our best Tuesday practices. And it's just so fun to see those guys grow and be committed and have purpose the way they have. And we can't do anything but keep growing off of that and having fun doing it. And that's what we intend to do.
Thanks, Andy.
Andy, I'm going to steal this question from Bob Beeler, who brought this up in our meeting this morning. But it seems like from the outside, your football team is getting healthier every week, which I find to be very rare in the middle of a football season. It usually doesn't work that way. Would you concur with that? And more importantly, when and if that happens, how does that build confidence? And to your point about being a physical football team, how much does that help that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's crazy. It's crazy, Mike, that you can add more depth through the middle of the year and into the end of the year in the last month, But because of certain circumstances earlier on, we were really light. And even the availability to practice a certain way to create that physicality at the line of scrimmage is really tough because we were stretched thin and we couldn't beat each other up anymore. We had to be really precise about how we were operating and doing things, and we still are. But I would say this, Mark Paul and our training staff has done an unbelievable job taking care of our guys and getting them to where they're at right now. Our strength staff as well, and getting them in position to, go out there and compete every day at practice, because how we work at practice is who we're going to be, on game day. And so we're very fortunate that we are, we're in a position where we do have more depth on both sides of the ball. By no means are we at where we want to be, but we're going to keep growing.
All right, appreciate the time very much.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Recording stopped.